back to new video, and in this video we're going to discuss remember and rememberSaveable. Both are the key component of our Jetpack Compose. So both are used to hold state while recomposition, and the main difference between them is how long they hold your state. Let's see everything with an example. What are the problems with remember and what are the problem that is solved in rememberSaveable. So for that, let's create a composable, and the composable name is example screen. In this I want to create here an state, and the state name is counter. So first I want to use remember mutable state of 0, import getter and setter, and now it's time to use column, and in this column we'll pass modifier fill max size, its vertical arrangement on the center, and its horizontal alignment is also on the center horizontally. Now in this column I want to create a text, use counter to string, use your spacer to provide space, height is 12 dp, and just below to it let me make some space for you. Let me hide this thing. Okay, so in button we have here on click, and when user click on it we want to increase the counter value by 1, and UI says increase counter. It's a very simple composable. We have a state counter, very simple column that contains text which is used to show the counter value, spacer to make space, and button is used to update our counter. Now in this scaffold I want to use my example screen, modifier padding, pass the inner padding, fill max size, execute this application. Alright, so this is our application. Click on it, it simply increase the counter value. Now when I rotate, or you can say change the configuration from portrait to landscape, you will see it lost the previous state. Okay, so this is the demerit with remember. Remember is usually used to protect your state from recomposition, but it doesn't protect your state when you change the orientation. Come back to the original orientation. Now use here rememberSaveable and re-execute it. Okay, increase the counter value, change the orientation. This time, as you can see, so remember and rememberSaveable both are used to store your state from recomposition, but the main difference between them is how long they hold your state. With remember you eventually lost your state when you change your orientation, but with rememberSaveable you don't. Now I want to store a data class object within our rememberSaveable. Let's see whether it is possible or not. So for that I want to create here a data class, and the data class name is UiState. In this we have a counter, type is integer. Let's use here immutable just to optimize our composable function. Now mutable state of, instead of 0, let's use here UiState, and initial counter value is 0. Scroll down, in our button click we'll use counter, make a copy of it and increase its previous counter value. So counter.counter plus 1. Re-execute it and see whether it is working or not. In this case our application crashes. This is because rememberSaveable is used only with primitive data types, but if you want to use this rememberSaveable with non-primitive data type, you should provide saver. Now in rememberSaveable we have state saver, and in this state saver you will use saver, we have save, we have restore. So restore start working when you change your orientation, and save is eventually used to save the previous orientation value. Just mention the type. So type is UiState. So this is my original type, and in this type we are storing a primitive data type integer. Now in save we have the information about the counter, so simply pass it, and in restore we want to restore our original state UiState, and in place of counter you can simply pass this counter value, and that's it. Now re-execute our application. UiState counter value is 0, increase the counter, you can see 7, and now when I change the orientation still it's 7, that means it works. Now if you want to create a data object or data class to hold this state, you can do it very easily. Let's see how you can do it. So we have here data object, and data object name is counter UiState. Use your saver. In original you can pass UiState, and what kind of primitive data type which you want to save, type is integer. Now in this we have two functions, restore and save. So in restore, as you can see, it provide me value of type integer. Use UiState, and in place of counter you can simply pass value and return it. Now in the save, if you notice, return type is integer and we are getting value of type UiState. So simply use a return value dot counter, and instead of this, now you can use counter UiState. Alright, so app crashes. This is because I haven't mentioned the parameter name, so it's state saver, and now I want to re-execute it. Okay, so it is working. 10, change the orientation, come back to the portrait, still it preserves. Now I want to introduce one more parameter in our UiState, which is a non-primitive data type. So to do that, let's create a data class, and data class name is user. We have name in it and we have age. Type is integer. Let's use here immutable. We have user in our UiState. So just remove it and create a new data object which says UiState saver. Original is UiState, and next is important. Next is type any. Implement the functions. We have restore, we have save. So let's start our journey with save. So in save, if you notice, the return type is any. That means we can very easily use here list of, and in this list of, so first I wanna use here value counter, then we have value dot user dot its name, and then we have value dot user dot its age. So basically I have created a list of the argument that we are receiving within our UiState. In our restore, we'll simply use this value. So wall list, use our value and typecast this thing with a type of list wildcard. One by one, we'll simply use value. Make sure the value sequence is exact same that you are saving, otherwise you'll have the wrong information. Now it's time to create here a UiState, and in this UiState we have counter and we have user. In counter, you'll simply use list dot first and typecast this thing in a form of integer. Now for the user, create here an object of user, and in place of name you'll simply use here list 1 and typecast this thing in a form of string. For the age, we'll use list 2, typecast this in a form of integer, and at the end simply return it. Now use this UiState saver over here. Okay, so in place of user, we'll simply pass my name. Alright, so re-execute our application to see whether it is working or not. Okay, so it is working. Now when I click on it, as you can see, counter value increase. When I change the orientation, it persists the information. When I came back to the original orientation, still it persists the information. So this is how you can use rememberSaveable state saver to save your states. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you got the concept of remember and rememberSaveable. We will meet in our next video where we will discuss something new about Android. Till that, goodbye.